Have you ever wondered about the power of beginnings? Whether it's the beginning of a new journey, a relationship, or even a fresh start in life, beginnings shape the path that follows. Today I want to take you on one of the most profound beginnings of all, the beginning of the story of Jesus Christ, as told in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 1. This chapter is a foundation of hope, identity, and purpose that leads us on a journey of discovery and transformation. Let's dive in and uncover the richness of this chapter, which serves as both an introduction to Jesus and an invitation to us all. The genealogy of Jesus. The first part of Matthew chapter 1 presents the genealogy of Jesus. Now, at first glance, it may seem like just a long list of names, but this genealogy carries a powerful message. It reminds us that Jesus' story is rooted in a rich history, one that spans generations. From Abraham to King David and down through the exiled Israelites, Jesus comes from a lineage filled with promises, struggles, and victories. Here's something to think about. God works through every part of our history. Just as Jesus' lineage wasn't perfect, neither are our lives. Yet God uses both the highs and lows to bring about His purpose. No matter where you come from or what you've been through, you are part of a greater story. God's fulfillment of His promise. As we move deeper into Matthew 1, we see the fulfillment of a promise. This chapter tells us that Jesus is the fulfillment of the prophecy in Isaiah 7:14, that a virgin would conceive a child, and that child would be called Emmanuel, meaning God with us. This is the heart of the Christmas story, the coming of God in the flesh to be with us. Here's something to think about. God always keeps His promises. Sometimes it may feel like we are waiting for answers or wondering if God sees us. But just like the people of Israel waited for the Messiah, the answer arrived in the perfect time. Trust that God is faithful and will fulfill what He has promised in your life. The birth of Jesus through the Virgin Mary. Mary's role in this story is vital. Chosen by God to bear His Son, she is an example of faith and obedience. Despite the challenges and the potential social shame, Mary accepts the divine calling in her life. This highlights a profound truth. God can use anyone, regardless of their background or social standing, to carry out His will. Here's something to think about. Never doubt your worth or what God can do through you. Like Mary, we are called to say yes to God's purpose in our life, even when it seems beyond our understanding. God sees you and has a purpose specifically designed for you. Joseph's role, a lesson in obedience and trust. Now, Joseph's reaction to Mary's pregnancy is one of quiet righteousness. Though, initially troubled by the situation, Joseph listens to the angel's message in his dream. The angel tells him to not be afraid, and that the child conceived in Mary is from the Holy Spirit. Joseph's obedience to God's command, despite the societal consequences, reveals his deep trust in God's plan. Think about this. Sometimes following God's path requires courage. Like Joseph, we may face uncertainty, but when we trust God and follow His guidance, we are blessed with a role in something far greater than ourselves. Emmanuel, God with us. The chapter concludes with one of the most beautiful promises in the Bible. Jesus is Emmanuel, which means God with us. This name encapsulates the heart of the gospel. God is not distant or uninvolved. He is with us in our struggles, our victories, our doubts, and our hopes. Jesus' birth signifies that we are not alone. God has come to dwell with his people. Think about this. In every season of life, God is with you, whether you feel him or not. He is closer than you can imagine. You are never abandoned. Emmanuel reminds us that God walks beside us, offering his presence, comfort, and guidance. Now, as we reflect on Matthew chapter 1, it's clear that this is more than just the beginning of a story. It's the beginning of hope for all humanity. Through Jesus' genealogy, we can see that God can redeem any situation. Through his promises, we learn to trust in his timing. And through the birth of Jesus, we know that God is with us always. So, as you go forward today, remember that your story is connected to something far greater. God has been at work in your life, in your family, and in your history, just as he was in the lineage of Jesus. He is Emmanuel, God with us, and he has a purpose and a plan for you. Take courage, embrace the journey ahead, and trust that God's promises are true. His love for you is constant, and his presence is with you every step of the way. Ask yourself, how can I say yes to God's plan like Mary? How can I trust him like Joseph? And how can I live knowing that God is always with me? These questions will lead you to a life of greater faith, purpose, and presence. Thank you. Tomorrow we'll discuss Matthew chapter 2.